Do we have a better connection? Do we have a better connection here? This is my concern. So I just started therapy, you guys. Let me get this situated. I'm way up high. Let me get this situated. I'm way up high because I have to get a good internet connection. Fuck. What am I going to do with this? Someone's here waiting on me. Okay. All right, guys. So I just started therapy, and I've had 2 sessions so far. And I just want to say right off the bat that it took me a few months of calling different people that they told me to call and having to do like phone interviews and then taking these documents to this people. This kind of stuff, like this administrative stuff for people who are struggling in mental health area is a nightmare. And if you're doing it all by yourself and you get into therapy, I already understand that at least you should know that you are one of the strong ones. Only the strong people experience, because it took months for me to finally get an appointment. And then once I got one, I had to wait at least a month and a half, almost 2 months for it to get there. Like that's how far out the first appointment was from when I finally got health insurance settled and got an appointment. And that was just crazy. But I finally did have. I've had my first 2 therapy sessions, and I had no idea what to expect, honestly. And so the very first day of my very first session, I got there 30 minutes early. Can everyone still hear me? It says my connection's unstable. God damn it. Are you guys still there? Can you hear me? Yes? I'm so sorry. This is so annoying. But my very first day, is this better? Okay, Brad says yeah. Okay, you guys are saying yeah, you can still hear me. So my very first day, I got there 30 minutes before the appointment, just as they asked that I do, and I was thrown a huge pack of papers to go through and read and circle. And this is the last thing I want to be doing before I have my very first therapy session ever, is having to go through and do administrative paperwork. And not even to mention that all of this stuff I have already provided to these people in some form. I had to do a phone intake before I could get my appointment, where I already went through all of these things. And so that was really kind of annoying. And then during that 30-minute period, I was taken from one waiting room to another room, where then they were verifying all kinds of health insurance information, stuff that I've already given them. But now I'm talking to this lady and I'm trying to rush through this packet. And then this lady takes me to another waiting room, which is even worse than the first one. Was pretty quiet, but this waiting room is like covered in white paint with the sun just bursting in. It's like glass doors and walls, and so it's just so bright, and it's very small, so you can hear everybody talking to the receptionist person while I'm trying to go through these papers. And then finally, the therapist I'm going to be speaking with peeks her head in and asks and yells my name. And I say yell because I'm already like overstimulated and very nervous and rushed. And for anyone who has any kind of anxiety issues, rushing is like a huge trigger, And then this woman pops in, and she has a very big voice. She's just one of those people that talks really big. And I'm like, oh God, I got the loud talker. And but she was very nice. And at this point, I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing okay. yeah, I'm fine, and she's like it's like doing the thing that people do where they're like trying to figure out why you're not responding to them with the exact same kind of like excitement and energy that they are. And I'm just thinking, why are you continually asking me if I'm okay and how I'm doing in this very bright, loud manner? Obviously, I'm not returning your energy. So please match my energy. I'm the mental health patient and I need you to calm down. I didn't say any of this actually. I just kind of was hoping she'd get the hint. And at this point, I'm just like going with it. I just feel like I'm on a conveyor belt and I'm just like trying to get by, just stay cool, stay quiet until they shoot me out the other side. Okay. And no, she seemed really, really nice. It's not that I didn't like her. Uh, I was just shocked that I never thought that I would encounter a therapist who was such a loud talker. Like she was just bubbly and bright and loud. But she seemed very nice, and so we go into her room, and she doesn't seem concerned at all that I haven't finished this huge packet. At the very end, she just takes it, and she's like, "Oh, whatever." And I'm like, "If it's not important, why did you give it to me to have to go through?" Because it only like made my whole experience worse. Of course, I didn't say that again. I didn't say that. But then she proceeds to take me through a 45-minute like this like her software on her computer like was had all of these questions that she had to ask me. Do you have this symptom? Have you ever experienced this? Did you ever experience this? Have you gone through this? And some of these and she encouraged me to be brief, but some of these were very painful, intimate questions I had to say yes or no to or give very brief details about. And I'm just thinking the whole time, like, thank God I waited to do this. And I told her this on my second appointment that I was so glad that I waited to come to therapy because, and she seemed kind of shocked, but like I could tell she was happy that I told her, which is why I kind of like her. She does seem very open minded, but I, I was like, there's no way I could have gotten through that questionnaire 2 years ago if I would have came in when I was in the midst of it and I just had to spout out and just like throw out on the table quickly all of this shit, just and then you just shove me out the door, because even I was my mind just was reeling for days afterwards, because one of the things I wanted to get out of and have been trying to get out of this year is being stuck in replay, of all of these things that have happened to me and that I've gone through. Then I had to go in there and despite all the work I've done this year to come back to earth, so to speak, like I just went right back into it. Like 'cause she just drew them all out of me very quickly. And then for a few days afterwards, I was just like trying to calm down, trying to remind myself to be present and just like having to redo all the work that I did all year that was now undone because now I'm just swimming again back into all of these memories, which is very PTSD ish. And if you watch my previous videos, you can laugh along with me because I kind of laughed to myself that when she at the end of the first appointment, she just said, "Well, I'm going to diagnose you with PTSD right off the bat," and I was like, oh, "Okay." I've often joked that I do have PTSD, so. But she also gave me another diagnosis that she said could change because she had just met me. And then at the end of the second appointment, she already admitted that she didn't think that the second diagnosis was accurate. And we just need to talk more. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, like because during the first interview, uh, it was just me answering questions. And while they were symptoms that I had experienced or like just specific events she could check mark, that I'd gone through, she still didn't know me. She knew nothing about me, about how I act, about the way that I am, how I handle these situations. And, she didn't know any of that. And so how can you diagnose someone? How can you diagnose someone after answering a 45-minute questionnaire with a more severe disorder, uh, beyond just like PTSD, which PTSD you can, I think I can understand why you would just obviously say, oh, okay, I can see that you have some PTSD. But anyway, and so I do want to later on, hopefully I'll talk more about what that incorrect diagnosis was, and I did start to talk to her a little bit about ASD and what I did between the first and second session. Sorry, guys, I'm holding my computer up, so it keeps moving. What I did between the first and second session was write down just basically, I called it my ASD, autism spectrum disorder-ness, but I basically just wrote down what I was like as a kid, what I was like as a teenager, and then kind of my goals now, like quickly, briefly, where I'm at now and what I want from coming into therapy, which is another issue. Like, she still has not asked me any of that. I went in the second time, and I thought there would be some kind of organized, like when I was a nurse, it was a very big part of your job is to constantly inform the patient of what's happening. These are our goals today. This is what I want to cover and why, and I just haven't gotten any of that. I still don't know what's happening. I don't understand what the purpose of the second session was. I don't understand the purpose of the third session. All I did on the second time was just go in and just like she just kind of asked how I did since last session, and then we just kind of started spouting off stuff, like just going through stuff just randomly that I've been through, and just kind of talking about it. And I don't know, it just seemed very chaotic. It didn't seem organized, like there was any point. Like it just, like I was just sitting there just casually talking about different things more that I'd already told her I went through last time. And I don't like that. Like I don't. I've seen other people on YouTube who have been diagnosed with PTSD and childhood PTSD and complex PTSD say that talk therapy didn't help them, and I can see that because they said that all they want to do is just take you back to these traumatic situations and just talk about them, and all that does is just every week put you right back into that environment, right back into that state, and then you just live in that state forever, and you're constantly going through it for their sake. Like, is that all I'm doing? It's just catching her up for her sake, because I've already spent 2 years grappling with all this. I've already spent 2 years finding peace, going through all this stuff. What was her name before? Are you talking about me? Okay, I want to go to the comment section here real quick. Brad says, unfortunately, a lot of doctors will do things like that to keep you coming back to milk your insurance. I hope this isn't the case here. I hope for the best with your therapy. Thank you, Brad. Thank goodness I'm not paying any kind of copay. I'm on a certain like Indiana health insurance for Hoosiers, and it's covering everything, which I'm just so thankful for. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, so the second time I went, it was just like very chaotic and casual. I still don't, and so I'm going to, if you've been to therapy, please leave a comment about if this is okay to do or what I should expect, like if this is just how it is, because I'm just going to ask her, like, I really don't want to just spend the next few months diving back into all of these places, especially if it's just for your sake, because my goal is to get out of that. What I'm doing now is I'm trying to come back to earth, and I'm looking for like practical like tools to use to help me to manage these leftover PTSD symptoms that my body like automates, even though I'm no longer in these situations, and just try to help control that and help heal that, retrain my body that things are okay, how to calm my anxiety. Like, I'm looking for like real tools to help me get back into normal life, so I can rejoin society on some level. Because already, like, I was in such a good routine. I had gotten to such a good place. I was working, I was keeping up my apartment. I was working on projects every day. And now it's just like, after therapy, I spend 2, maybe 3 days just exhausted. I can't keep up with stuff. I can barely keep up with taking care of myself because my mind takes a long time to calm down. And I'm just not, if that's what this is going to be, I'm not into that. I'm not looking, like, I don't understand what the purpose is, especially since it's not like it just happened. It's not like I need she's trying to help me process this, like I've processed it, all this has happened and I understand, like do I have the wrong perspective? Like, is that all she's there to do, is just listening to me talk about my trauma? Because, like, does she not have, wasn't she trained to teach me things? That's my question. Like, aren't therapists trained to teach you practical tools on some manner to help you manage your mental health? Isn't that, am I wrong about that? And I don't mean to be rude, because she is very nice. And I think if I brought this up to her, she would be very open. And she seems very open. And she says she's excited to work with me because I seem very open. But okay, we got a comment here. Brad says you should just tell her what you're looking for out of therapy. That's what they're there for. I know it's not easy to do that face to face. You're right. And so what I did I already say this? Like, between the first and second session, I wrote down all those things and I wrote what I wanted to get out of that. And at the end of the second session, I gave it to her, saying, "Look, this is what I want out of this, and these are things I wanted to kind of say when I first came into therapy. And so now at least I can know that you'll know this if you'll read this." And she said that she would. And then we can go from there. And so I'm hoping that gives some kind of layout of a plan, of a direction, because right now I feel like there is no direction. I don't understand what we're doing. I just feel like it's just, I come in and it's just whatever happens, and there's no purpose there. I'm not given any tools. I'm not given any understanding or anything, and that's not helpful. So like, surely a therapist is more than just to be a listening ear. I know that can be helpful at times, but if I'm not looking for that, is that not what she's there for? Like, I'm so confused. I'm so confused as a healthcare provider by the lack of guidance about what's happening and what I should expect. I've expressed to her, like, multiple times, that I've never had therapy before and I don't know how this is supposed to work. And I don't know. I'm excited to talk about. I'm hoping next time we will talk more about Asperger's, because to me, the information I gave her will hopefully just scream Asperger's, and hopefully she'll want to kind of go down that direction. And I think it will help clarify why I didn't exactly fit into the second diagnosis that she proposed, and that she agreed that I wasn't really fitting into. But when she gave it to me, and I don't want to. I'll talk about it all once it all gets settled. But when she gave it to me, I kind of smiled underneath my mask, because I was like, all right, this is exactly what undiagnosed adult females get diagnosed with at their first impression in therapy, when they actually have autism. And I was like, so maybe I'm just on the right track. Everything is going according to plan. And if anything, I did really consider the new the one she thought I was. And I took time learning about it, and I really tried to ask myself if this really did match me, but it doesn't. And she even admitted that it doesn't seem to be fitting, but she does see that there's something else there. And so I'm just hoping. I don't know. It's just so weird. It's just so weird. Not to mention, I told her that just outright when I came in the second time, that for someone who was diagnosed with PTSD, like, my first experience was not PTSD friendly. I was in 30 minutes, I was rushed through a bunch of paperwork, talked to multiple people, and then had to come in and answer a 45-minute personal questionnaire where I just had to flippantly go through all the stuff I've been through, and then was just shoved out the door with 2 diagnoses. Okay, go home for 7 days, and don't worry, don't stress about anything. Like, it was not. Thank God I didn't have to drive. I didn't have to drive home, and it was the whole thing happened so fast, and I was like, geez. Frank Jones. Oh, I knew you were Asperger's years ago. Thanks, Frank. Thank you, Frank. That makes me feel better. Brad says, if it's not helpful in the next 2 or 3 sessions, maybe you should try to find someone else if that's possible. I know, I was thinking about that. I'm hoping that I'm waiting to see what she'll say next week about the information that I gave her, because and if she thinks I should talk to someone else, because she did mention, because I briefly mentioned the first session that I think I might have Asperger's. That's all I had time to say. And she said, well, let's take time and and sort through the PTSD a little, and then we can get you assessed for that because your insurance will cover it. She said that, and she admitted, she's like, you might have Asperger's. I don't know, but that's what I was worried about. Like, how do you bring that up? Do you just say, I'm sure it'll come to me in the moment. I can be diplomatic in the moment without forethought sometimes. Sometimes. Ridley Walker says, I've heard finding a therapist compared to dating a lot. I know a few people who have been to many therapists before finding one that really helped them. And see, that's what everyone says. And that sounds painful. Like, hopefully they'll transfer notes, because there's no way that I'm going to go through my entire 38 years of life. I have PTSD from my life. I've never been to war or anything like that. It's just from my life. Okay. And they want me to just like spill through it for multiple therapists. That seems like that doesn't have any compassion, and like that seems very unaware. It seems very organization focused and not patient focused. Like, that's not going to be very kind to a person with PTSD, that they just have to thrash through their entire record for every single person. So I'm hoping I don't have to do that, even though I hear that that's what you have to do. I don't understand why information isn't being transferred. I had to give basic information 4 different times, all of this basic information to different people, and none of them seem to have known like it was already given. And I'm like, this is a problem. This is a problem. If it's being put in the system, it should transfer to other people in the system so that I don't have to like spew this out a billion times. Like, ugh. Anyway, guys, so this is my road to hopefully an ASD diagnosis. I think we are getting there. It was very confirming after learning about the first misdiagnosis that was not PTSD, the other one I haven't told you about. It really just to confirm for me, like, wow, I scream Asperger's. I don't know what it is. It's like, and I thought of an example to give her. I was like, this diagnosis is like when the stepsister tries on Cinderella's shoe and it's like fitting in there and it's like shaking and it pops off. And I was like, but when you consider ASD, it's like Cinderella's foot sliding right in the shoe. Like, it's just every checkbox is checked. It's all there. And I'm hoping she'll see that. Hey, old school Dave. Happy Friday. We're groaning about therapy. If anyone has any suggestions or advice, please, I would welcome that so much. I do want to be careful and I do want to be respectful because I know I've experienced, once being a healthcare provider, that that you just get lost. You get so used to the routine that you forget that patients don't understand the routine. And I know, I don't know what this girl's actual qualifications are. It just says therapist on her tag. But I know that with physicians, like people who have a doctorate of some sort, they have very fragile egos. She doesn't seem to be this way, so that's good. But so like if they're challenged at all, it will affect your care. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to be very kind when I bring up, when I challenge her opinions. That's just me though. I just challenge opinions. And so oh my gosh, I'm hoping that I used to be so diplomatic about it. And then I went through a phase where I just couldn't be diplomatic about it anymore. But hopefully I'm getting some of that back. Anyway, I've been groggy as hell these last couple days since the second session. And I'm hoping the third one will have more. And I'll explain that to her too. Maybe I should. Like, do you guys not give patients like a goal every day? Like, this is what we're going to talk about today, and this is why, and this is what it's supposed to help with, because that would really help, because I just feel like it's just chaos. Like, I don't understand what the purpose of anything is so far, and I don't feel like, I feel like it's my right as a patient and as a person who has any kind of mental health issue, or I guess who has PTSD, it's my right to choose when I want to go back and heal from that. and when and to choose when it's time for me to put that aside, to stop healing for a while and to become strong again, and to get myself back to a healthy place, because I think you need that balance. You need to have days where you feel good and where you're living a healthy life without diving back into your past, because I'm done with that. I'm done with replaying all of these past instances, and that's all I do, and that's what this cannot be. That this experience cannot be that. That's not helpful. That's not what I'm looking for, but it's that. I'm sure I'll say it just like that. But she seems pretty cool. She seems not intimidated by my forwardness. Okay, we got one here. Frank Jones. I'm not in therapy, but I'd like to be. My only experience was couples counseling. I'm ASD and my girlfriend was PTSD. Oh, interesting. That's so interesting. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, guys. This is just this is how it's going so far. I just want to let you know, I haven't been on in a long time, but I am still here. It's just, if you've been with me through my journey, then you know that June and July every year are just like tumultuous for me. And so I'm trying to just take that into consideration and be really chill, and just kind of be really private. And because getting on social media and doing too much YouTube can up my anxiety. That's kind of why I stopped doing lives for a while, even though I know you guys really like them and I like them too. But they were starting to spike my anxiety. And anyway, that's you got to take care of yourself first. So, but I'm working on projects. I have a lot of creative projects I'm working on, and hopefully by the end of the summer, I'll have all that stuff out. Old School Day says, my plug is my therapist and he prescribes me EDs. That's sweet. My plug is my therapist? What does that mean? I don't understand that. What does that mean? Brad, I was wondering where you've been. I see a few of your cooking clips on Instagram. I know, I feel so kind of stupid. Oh, you're a dealer. Sorry. That must be like a regional lingo. I've never heard a dealer being called a plug in this area. Old School. Are you from around Utah? Is that what my recollections tell me? I'm in Indiana, so that kind of stuff can vary. That's cool to know. I post cooking stuff on Instagram sometimes, and I feel silly because it's not like I'm an amazing cook. It's just that I get excited when I cook things because it's possible. Because I was never taught to cook. I was never around cooking, and it's been like just something I've had to learn to do, and I don't know. Anyway. All right, guys, it's already been 27 minutes. Oh my gosh. It's so good to see everyone. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll get back soon with more videos. Hopefully, I have plans and with more updates on the therapy thing. So I hope you guys have a great summer, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.